Okay, so welcome to this next video in which we are discussing nitric oxide synthase inhibitors, or NOSIs. Now, we're in the phase of looking at selective NOS2 inhibitors. So we've now seen we've seen nitroiminoethyl ornithine, we've seen nitroiminoethyl lysine, and we've also seen that's all we've seen at the moment. Okay, so we'll now see some more selective NOS2 inhibitors. Okay, so the next one we're going to see is a drug known as Amino Guanidine. Amino Guanidine. Now, you might be tempted to think, oh, guanidine, that's going to have something to do with the organic base, guanine, but it doesn't. So let me now show you the structure of amino guanidine, and I want you to always think about this. Well, where is it? Where's my original picture of arginine? So think about the original picture that I drew of arginine with this amino group here and this group here with the carbon double bonded to the nitrogen. Okay, so now when we look at amino guanidine, let's remember that group. So here is a carbon, and here is an amino group up here, just like that terminal group on the L-arginine. Then we have a double bond with a nitrogen down here and a hydrogen, and then off here we have a nitrogen with a hydrogen there, and then we don't have a carbon here, which is what we'd have if we were just copying out the terminal end of L-arginine. Instead, we have another amino group. So that now is the structure of amino guanidine. Now, let me explain to you why it's called amino guanidine. So let me show you the structure of guanidine. Guanidine would be this structure here. So it would be again this carbon with this amino group coming up here, and then it would just have another amino group here. So guanidine is this incredibly symmetric molecule, because if you remember, I told you that this double bond basically can flip between these different nitrogens these different nitrogens that were on the L-arginine. But now in the case of guanidine, you have 3 of them that it can flip between, basically. So there is an incredible resonant structure in guanidine. This is amino guanidine because we've stuck an extra amino group on top of one of these amino groups. But I want to emphasize that there is really no difference between this nitrogen and these nitrogens here. This double bond can flip from this one to this one, and this one will go to being just a normal amino group then. Okay, right. So amino guanidine is another selective NOS2 inhibitor, and I hope again you can see that this is sort of mirroring the structure of the terminal end of L-arginine. So again, it's a selective NOS2 inhibitor, or the other name for NOS2 was iNOS. So it inhibits NOS2. Okay, and finally, the final one we want to talk about is something known as S-methyl isothiourea. Okay, which is often denoted SMITU. So if you ever hear people talking about SMITU, this is what they mean. S-methyl isothiourea. Okay, so SMITU, or S-methyl isothiourea, is again a selective NOS2 inhibitor. Now let me show you the structure of this. So again, it has the same terminal structure here, where you have this analogous structure to L-arginine, basically. So you have these 2 nitrogen groups here. But then, instead of having a nitrogen off here, instead you have a thio group, a sulfur atom, and then a methyl group coming off that. So that's why this is called S-methyl isothiourea, because you've got the methyl group coming off the sulfur, basically. Okay, so this S-methyl isothiourea is a selective NOS2 inhibitor, or the other name for NOS2 is iNOS. Okay, right. So overall then, we have seen one inhibitor that is non-selective for all of the NOS enzymes. That was LNMA. MA. So let me get that one back. So here is LNMMA, NG monomethyl L-arginine. We then saw two examples of NOS inhibitors, which were selective slightly for NOS3. We saw L-nitroarginine, and then we saw NG nitro L-arginine methyl ester, or L-name. We then saw two examples of NOS inhibitor which were selective for NNOS, this ARL17477 and this 7-nitroindazole. Finally, we saw four examples of drugs which were selective for NOS2. Firstly, we saw N-iminoethyl L-ornithine, or L-nio. We then saw an analogue of that, which was L-nil, or N-iminoethyl L-lysine. And then finally, we saw Amino Guanidine and S-methyl isophiourea.